wherever you roam, and admit that the waters around you have grown, and accept it that soon you'll be drenched to the bone. If your time to you is worth saving, and you better start swimming, or you'll sink like a stone, for the times they are a-changing. Come writers and critics who prophesize with your pen, and keep your eyes wide, the chance won't come again. And don't speak too soon, for the wheel's still in spin. There's no telling who that it's naming, for the loser now will be later to win, for the times they are a-changing. Come senators, congressmen, please heed the call. Don't stand in the doorway, don't block up the hall, for he that gets hurt will be he who has stalled. The battle outside raging will soon shake your windows and rattle your walls, for the times they are a-changing. Come mothers and fathers throughout the land, don't criticize what you can't understand. Your sons and your daughters are beyond your command. Your old road is rapidly aging. Please get out of the new one if you can't lend your hand, for the times they are a-changing. The line it is drawn, the curse it is cast. The slow one now will later be fast, as the present now will later be past. The order is rapidly fading, and the first one now will later be last, for the times they are changing. Yes, the times they are changing. For the times they are changing. Oh, the times they
So happy to see these beautiful, lovely faces. We're going to have a great time today, so sing it with me, okay? Join me.
Standing outside the door of love and mercy, you wonder if there's a place there for you. You know there's peace inside, but you're still searching for someone who understands the pain that you've been through. With the doors unlocked, the lights are on. What are you waiting for? Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. You'll find a place of rest in the arms of spirit. God's waited so long for your homecoming day. God knows the peace you seek and the hurt you're feeling. Spirit wants to hold you and to wipe your tears away. Where the Father waits with open arms, God is calling out your name. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, so come on in. Well, there's room enough in the house of love for someone just like you. Ooh. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in. Come on, Unity, I want to hear you sing. Come on. Come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, come on in, welcome home. You are loved, you belong here now. No matter where you've been, so come on in.
Good morning, everybody. It's a pleasure to see all of you again. Hello to our live streamers and those of you on Facebook. We greet you as part of our spiritual community this morning. I'm Bev Spivey. It's my joy to be co-ministering here. And no, that is not my husband. Although there are a few similarities. Reverend Lawrence Palmer, if you haven't met him yet, he's had a challenge with a back problem for a number of months now, and walking exacerbates that. So, Lawrence, you may be home watching us right now. So we send our love, and he's just taking a little rest from the walking today, and he's still at work for you as your minister.
Reverend Lawrence, as long as we hope you're watching, and if you're relaxing, we hope there are also pancakes involved. So.
No pancakes. First of Saturday of the month is the only time for the pancakes.
Okay.
We do have with us Rabbi David Mark, that many of you know from our Temple Shalom next door. And I'll give him an official introduction in just a little while. But we can't forget our wonderful professional musicians under the direction of James McCoy.
Good morning. Would you please welcome Mr. John Rose at the piano and the keyboard this morning. We're very fortunate to have Mr. Brian Lang at the drum set this morning. Our featured soloist is, of course, Danette Rivas. And we have music this morning from let's see, Nick Lowe, Jerry Bach, and Eva Cassidy. There you go.
There we go. Looking forward to it. For those of you who are watching online, you've probably found us through our website, unitypompanobeach.org. So for all of you here as well, that's where to go for keeping in touch with the events and things we have going on, for a preview of the Sunday services. There's always a meditation there, music that you can listen to, so make it your friend during the week. Also, please, there's a link there for prayer requests. And we have a team of chaplains here who honor those prayer requests every day and hold all of us in the light. So take advantage of that link to send in your prayer requests. If you're here today, there are blue prayer slips that we ask you to fill out. Either put them in the offering plate, or there's a prayer chest at a little table there in the lobby area. There are yellow contact forms. If you are not yet in our database for Getting Happenings, our weekly newsletter, we invite you to fill out one of those forms and be in touch. We do not share our mailing lists with anybody ever. So it's protected, but it does give us a way to contact you. Some of you who may be taking classes and things that need to be changed at the last minute. That database is, all this new age stuff. Now you can hit a button and text everybody or email everybody. So take advantage of filling that out. This week, I want to call your attention to Saturday, coming up at 10 a.m., right here in our parking lot. We're going to have a pet blessing. Bring your pets. These are animals. Bring your animal pets of all kinds. And we will bless them. Lawrence and I and Darby and some of our prayer chaplains are going to be here depending on how many pets we have to bless. And we'll send you home with a pet blessing on paper that you can take with you. It's a day to be together as community for fun. And we have some canopies to put up. So I'm asking for anyone who is strong, male or female, that can arrive a little bit earlier, let's say 9:30, to help us get these canopies up to provide some shade for us. So that's what we're looking forward to on Saturday. Now to switch into our thoughts about our theme this year, a new view in 22. So much has happened and is happening, right? A new view in 22. How do we look at life? How do we look at ourselves? Who are we as a spiritual community? And this month we are celebrating Jewish American Heritage Month. And it's our joy to remember our friends at Temple Shalom. We've gone back and forth a couple times through the years. And we celebrate Jewish American heritage. And because of that, of course, Rabbi Mark will be speaking with us. But on Friday night, May 27th, that's on Memorial Day weekend, Friday night, there's a special production here by Avi Hoffman, who is well known as an entertainer. And his presentation is still Jewish after all these years. This is guaranteed to be fun. He's a personal friend and has given us a special rate. It's just $18 per ticket. We're asking all of you to come out and support the idea of inclusion and fellowship among friends in Jewish American Heritage Month, and supporting Unity of Pompano in this way as we build back our spiritual community. So we're asking that you purchase your tickets through today and tomorrow, and then we're going to take a count and see if we have enough to go forward. I know in Unity so much we wait till the last minute, but we're asking for you to have your decisions made, and please buy those tickets by tomorrow afternoon. And so now I want to read a little bio for you to appreciate Rabbi David Mark, whom has spoken here before. We know him. He's a good friend. It's my pleasure to introduce him to those of you who have not met him yet. He is, of course, the rabbi at our neighboring Temple Shalom. Rabbi Mark was born and raised in New York City's Lower East Side. He attended Yeshiva University, graduating with a bachelor's degree in English literature, another bachelor's degree in Bible and Jewish education, and a Hebrew teacher's diploma. He also spent a year at a university in Israel and became fluent in spoken Hebrew. In addition, Rabbi Mark holds 2 master's degrees in English literature from City University of New York Graduate Center. He also attended the Academy of Jewish Religion in New York City, where he was ordained in 1980. He served congregations in Warren, New Jersey, Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Portsmouth, New Hampshire, prior to coming here to South Florida and Temple Shalom in 2009. In addition to his service there, Rabbi Mark has taught at Everglades University in Boca, Southeastern College in Green Acres, and Broward College North in Coconut Creek. Currently, he's full-time at Kaiser University. Rabbi Mark has been married to Ann Beth Rosenfeld since 1978, and they have 2 grown children, a Shih Tzu named Kirby. He enjoys playing the dombek, Middle Eastern drum, and writing poetry and short stories. If any of you have followed any of his writings or his blog, you know what a writer he is. So it is my great pleasure. Won't you join me in welcoming Rabbi David Mark? So as we prepare for his message to us today, let's look at today's daily word. And as we move into our prayer time, let's hold in mind those who are suffering in Buffalo from the shooting there. Such a tragedy again, and this born of racial violence, racial prejudice. And let us hold on to our spiritual truths and do what we can to heal our own minds of prejudice, heal our own minds of the things that we may not even recognize are there, as far as racism, white privilege, and so forth. So today's daily word, Sunday, May 15th, is freedom. Taking responsibility for my life leads me to freedom. Each life has its share of ups and downs. Like most people, I felt blessed by my happy experiences and laid low by my more difficult ones. I have used the spiritual tools of forgiveness and gratitude to learn from and move beyond my more painful experiences. This kind of spiritual housekeeping is my key to lasting freedom. By releasing blame and regret over and over again if necessary, I'm ensuring that I will not be bound by the past and limited by an outworn image of myself. Life is dynamic, and so am I. My growth is dependent upon my forward movement, and I commit to embracing the freedom that comes from leaving the past behind. With gratitude, I bless the person I was. With faith, I reach unencumbered for the person I am becoming. And the scripture is from Paul's letter to the new Christian church forming in Galatia, Galatians 5:13. For you were called to freedom, brothers and sisters. And before we get into our meditation time, let's remember that our own responsibility for freedom is not just physical freedom to move about as we choose, but also have the freedom of choice to choose those things that are right for ourselves and others, to take action where that insight, where that choice leads us into action. As we think about the violence that is occurring, let us not be part of violence in any way, not even in our thinking. So let us now prepare for a time of meditation by special music that you may recognize from Fiddler on the Roof.
May the Lord protect and defend you. May He always shield you from shame. May you come to be in Israel a shining name. May you be like Ruth and like Esther. May you be deserving of praise. Strengthen them, O Lord, and keep them from the stranger's ways. May God bless you and grant you long. May the Lord fulfill our Sabbath prayer for you. May God make you good mothers, and may He send you husbands who will care for you. May the Lord protect and defend you. May the Lord preserve you from pain. Favor them, O Lord, with happiness and peace. O hear our Sabbath prayer.
Let's flow right from that beautiful prayer into our own introspection and prayer time as we recognize God's many blessings upon us, as we recognize that as we tune in to those blessings, as we live by the insights of wisdom and teachings, that we shall be free indeed. We shall experience peace, love, understanding. So as we remember the words of the daily word, by releasing blame, by releasing regret, not being bound by the past, growth is dependent on our forward motion. So during this time, those of you that visualize a scene, think about a train station. And there you are with your bags on a cart. They've all been taken to some other storage compartment. All your baggage, you are moving. You're moving. And you see yourself standing on the platform, full of stress and anxiety and just frantic movement of having to get ready for this trip or this move that involves so many moving parts. A lot of times that's what our life is like on a daily basis. And as the conductor yells, "All aboard," you leave behind all that worry and anxiety and preparation, and you step on that train clutching one thing: your spiritual toolkit. And inside are the tools that you have learned to keep connected with God, to keep connected with Spirit. Your tool of prayer, your tool of forgiveness, gratitude, and love. And you take a seat on that train to where you can see yourself moving from that platform, and you see the old version of you standing there. And you say, "Thank you for getting me to this point. Goodbye. I release you with my blessing. I know everything you did was the best you could think of at the time, and I'm moving on." And then you turn your seat and sit across from you where you can watch the landscape as you move by and as what lies ahead. And I ask you now to begin envisioning what is ahead for you. What baggage won't you even claim when you get there? Sometimes we leave behind friends and jobs, ideas mostly. Leave behind the things that aren't serving you. But leave them with responsibility. Don't just up and take off. You are responsible. Taking responsibility for my life leads me to freedom. Let us have some quiet time now to conceive what that freedom means. Who are you when you are totally free? A few moments in the silence. Envision the new you today in the silence. taking responsibility for my life leads to freedom. And so it is. And so we bring our mind back to this place and this time as we sing together, Alleluia.
Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
As I walk through this wicked world, searching for light in the darkness of insanity, I ask myself, is all hope lost? Is there only pain and hatred and misery? And each time I feel like this inside, there's one thing I wanna know. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? As I walked on through these troubled times, my spirit gets so downhearted sometimes, oh sometimes. So where are the strong? And who are the trusted? And where is the harmony, sweet harmony? 'Cause each time I feel it slipping away, just makes me wanna cry. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? So where are the strong? And who are the trusted? And where is the heart? Oh, harmony, sweet harmony. 'Cause each time I feel it slipping away, just makes me wanna cry. What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? What's so funny about peace, love, and understanding? Oh, understanding. Peace, love, understanding.
Thank you.
Am I on? All right. I don't know what Moses used. He was 80 years old. He climbed to the top of Mount Sinai. There are easily about a dozen different Mount Sinais in the Sinai Peninsula, but we're not sure which one he chose. If you've ever been to Mount Sinai, there is a monastery at the foot of the mountain called Santa Caterina. And apparently those good and pious monks over the centuries that they were living there, out there in the desert with no entertainment, no cable, no Hulu, nothing like that, they found time to carve steps in the mountain. So I've always thought it a very Jewish mountain. If you ever visit Mount Sinai, you don't have to bring your pitons or your climbing axe or any length of rope. You could just walk up like you're going to the second floor of Macy's, about which I'll also be talking. But how indeed did they hear him? They said that when God recited and Moses repeated, and of course it was 40 days and nights. The 10 Commandments are wonderful, but in 40 days and nights you can do a lot more than just 10 Commandments. Allegedly, he gave the entire Torah, all 613 mitzvot, commandments. They were translated into several different languages. The animals heard them, the birds heard them, the ox of the field and so on. Actually, it's the ox of the barn. I'm from New York City. I don't do oxen. But I wanted to welcome you to this holy service and thank our clergy for welcoming me and say to you, Baruchim atem b'Adonai, berachnuchim mibeit Adonai. You who are here are blessed in the name of God. We bless you from the house of God. And I always found that a very unifying prayer. As a matter of fact, it's the first prayer that you do at the beginning of a wedding. And I think in some way, shape, or form, in addition to the blessed relationships that we establish with one another, we all have that particular loving relationship with God. If you happen to be Jewish, there is no requirement to believe in God to be a Jew. You can believe in a pastrami on rye. You can believe in a potato knish. You can believe in Hollywood. It really is okay. Just try to be a nice person and do the right thing. As I recall, as a small boy, my mother gave me two very important commandments. Be sure to kiss Aunt Sylvia after the service, even though she has a mustache, and always listen to the rabbi. The rabbi had a mustache too. Okay. Well, how did the Jews get to America? We have what we call Oive history. Oive, here come the Cossacks, the Khmelnytsky massacres, the Inquisition, the Crusaders, and of course, as you know, with the Holocaust. I'm not making light of that, not one bit. As a matter of fact, in the bit from the Fiddler, from Fiddler on the Roof, which our musical group played so beautifully, there's a line of Tevye's. I always remember Zero Mostel saying it. Perhaps we are doomed to always wander. That's why we wear our hats. So one never knows. But the Jews came to America. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. You know, my kids don't know that. I teach at Kaiser, and that has gone the way of all flesh, along with any line you quote from The Wizard of Oz. The Wizard of Oz is not common gospel anymore. Forgive me for citing a thing there. But aside from Columbus being genocidal and greedy and a slave master and all kinds of horrible things, and I'm so glad we live in the United States of America, not the United States of Colombia, not that Colombia, a lovely little country in South America, which supplies many of my students, is also a very lovely place. However, as soon as the New World was established and people started flocking there, the Jews were very happy to go there too. At the time, they fled to Recife, to Brazil, which in those days was called Pernambuco. They changed it to Recife because it was easier to write on the picture postcards. Well, the Jews were flourishing there. They even had a rabbi. They had one rabbi, and apparently he got along with everybody. Rabbi Isaac Aboab. I think that's a wonderful last name. You could say it back to front. You could say it front to back, Aboab. Well, then, things are moving along very nicely, but then one fine sunny morning, who appears in the waters off of Pernambuco but the Portuguese fleet? And you know, when the Portuguese, this has nothing to do with Portuguese folks today, when the Portuguese fleet shows up in the 1500s, you can only see that the Portuguese Inquisition is not far behind. The Jews were expelled from Spain in 1492, allegedly on the same day that Columbus sailed. And the year following, 1493, the Jews were expelled from Portugal. It's a historical trend. Very often, I know it's a cliche, but very often the ruler or the monarch or the duke or the king would invite the Jews in to straighten out his economy, and then when they had fulfilled their purpose, he would kick them out. So the Jews needed a place to go, and they got together. And a bunch of Spanish and Portuguese Jews, although a few of them with German-sounding names crept in. I don't know how they got there. They probably went under the turnstile. And they rented a French vessel, the St. Charles, and going up the coast, which in those days was not a Staten Island ferry ride, I can tell you, they were attacked by pirates who took everything, as pirates will, but left them alone. They go on limping to the port of New Amsterdam, and they petition the governor of New Amsterdam, Peter Stuyvesant. Okay, he had a peg leg. He was a soldier. He lost his leg in battle. But then he went into politics, and he was a lot more dangerous there. And they said, Governor Stuyvesant, will you let the Jews in? And he said no. Now, let's really be honest about this. He was not necessarily anti-Semitic. He didn't like anybody. If you were going to be his friend, you had to belong to the Dutch Reformed Church. He said, if we let in the Jews, we're going to have to let in the Lutherans, and after that, the Catholics. So he figured he was doing the New World a favor by keeping the Jews on the vessel. But see, the Jews had an ace in the hole. Because the Netherlands were very pro-Jewish, they allowed the Jews to work in business the same as everyone else, and several of them got on the board of directors of the Dutch West Indian Company. Because they weren't there to show the flag for country, the Dutch were there to make money. They caught fish and salted them. Anybody ever had salted fish? I've so far not had that treat. They trapped small fur-bearing animals and sent the fur back to Europe, and so on and so forth. And the word came down from the Dutch West Indian Company, let them in. And Stuyvesant said, okay, my hands are tied. I'll let them in, but don't expect me to like them. Well, there were a couple of leaders of the group of Jews. They said, could we have a synagogue? He said no. Can we pray in somebody's house? He said no. Can we have a bakery? He said no. Terrible person, really. Such an, well, I guess by this point you could say he's an anti-Semite. But a few years later, the British fleet showed up in New York Harbor. It became New York and not New Amsterdam. The Dutchmen were relegated to the pages of Rip Van Winkle and the Legend of Sleepy Hollow. They really did. They moved upstate. And everything was fine. So New York became a Jewish city. No bagels yet. Certainly no bialys. No kosher pizza. No Jewish bookstores. But because it was on the coast, most of the Jews in those days, in the 18th century, were able to do maritime. They sent it here and they brought it from there. Now, there were a couple of scandals. For example, Phila Franks. Phila. If you want, I don't know what kind of name is Phila. Well, it means lover. And she did. Phila Franks, the daughter of Moses Franks, I think his name was, fell in love with that rascally Oliver Delancey, after whom Delancey Street is named. And they ran off together, and Mrs. Franks went to her grave in mourning. It was very sad, very sad. Notwithstanding this, the Jews did contribute to the revolution, and I suppose there were some Jews who were loyalists as well. Again, it's New York City. You can't say every New Yorker thinks the same way, because they will hurry to correct you. But most of the loyalists, I suppose, wound up in the Caribbean or up in Canada, and the Jews were happy to be part of the new United States of America. Besides, there were only about 3,000 of them. There was anti-Semitism, but you've got to have a lot of Jews to have anti-Semitism. You've got to have a lot of anybody to have racism. And I'm sorry to say this, but it was the great H. Rap Brown, the Black Panther back in the 60s, who said racism is as American as apple pie. And historically, every group that gets off the boat and makes it in America turns around and slams the door in the faces of the folks who come next. And that's only white people. Obviously, again, I'm not trying to make trouble or anything, but one of the things we need to listen to and pay attention to is the beautiful music that we heard before, peace, love, and understanding. If people would recognize that we can get along with each other, that would be so wonderful. Let me do a little digression here. It was Martin Buber. Anybody heard Martin Buber? He was a big deal in the 60s. Well, Buber wrote a great many books, most of them impenetrable. But this little one, I and Thou, is a masterpiece. And this is it. You're standing online in Publix. You're standing online in Walmart, whatever it is. And the line is moving slowly. And you look at your cashier and you see this poor harried teenage individual is wearing the badge of shame which says trainee. Now, you could address the situation one of two ways. You could say, oh, this poor child out there on her own for the first time, I will be merciful, I will be patient. It's not really crucial that I should have to go do whatever next thing I need to do. Or you can say, this person is in my way, this person is an obstacle, this person was sent into my life not for a good reason, in which case the person is an it. You can have an I-it relationship, you can have an I-thou relationship. And when I look at the United States today, well, here I am talking to you about the Jews, and I will get back to it. It bothers me, it hurts me. I think about my relatives, my grandparents, who sacrificed so much to come here. And I think we owe it to them and to the memory of all of our grandparents and to that of our friends to try and do something about moving this country in the right direction. But I'll stop there because politics and the pulpit are always very strange. There used to be a New Yorker magazine cartoon with the priest in the pulpit saying, "Here now endeth the weekly news report." So I'm not going to do that. Well, let's move forward, shall we? By the time the next group of Jews come along, all of the colonial Jews had intermarried, had married Episcopalians, and gone on about their lives. So who is the next group to come? Well, I present to you a short man from Corsica who goes on to conquer most of the world. That is Napoleon Bonaparte, and he is a radical, and he introduces ideas of democracy in Europe, which had never been heard before. And who was in the forefront of support for Napoleon? The Jews. The Jews were tired of living in ghettos. The Jews were tired of wearing funny hats or the yellow star or what have you, and they wanted to be just like everyone else. It's like I've been a rabbi for possibly 40 years, and I wrote an essay once called A Quiet, Normal Life. That'd be so nice. Because you go to services. This was early on in North Carolina, and we didn't count women in the minyan, in the prayer quorum. And I came because it was my bounden duty, and they're standing there counting, you know, how many people. You don't count 1, 2, 3. You count nicht ein, nicht zwei, nicht drei, not 1, not 2, not 3, because it's an evil eye. Everybody knows that. Well, finally somebody says, the 10th guy comes in, they said, okay, we can do the service now. We have 9 men and the rabbi. What happened? I just lost my whatever it is. Okay, so let's get back to the Jews who come to this country. After Napoleon is defeated and all the revolutions are ended, the German Jews, Germans, Bohemians, and Moravians, I'm not quite sure about those folks, but they do come to America. They come in their thousands, and they enter, for the most part, mercantile. They are the founders of the great, now lost, department stores, Macy's, Gimbel's, Klein's, Abraham and Strauss. These, as I say, were the great merchant princes. I read a wonderful article, you can look it up, about the Strauss brothers who owned Macy's, and sadly one of them went down on the Titanic with his wife. It was such a poignant moment, and you probably saw it in the movie anyway. But that is just an example of one of the families that was lost. But for the most part, they went on to do very well. Levi's, if you've worn Levi's, well, my goodness. Levi Strauss, German Jewish young man, went out west, and he took a bundle of canvas when he was approached by a miner, because what they did was, they didn't care what kind of pants they had. They would throw nuggets or rocks containing possible gold into their pockets, which wore them out. And this miner, this prospector said, Levi, can you make me a pair of pants that won't wear out? And Levi Strauss sat down, used brass tacks at the stress points, and of course sewed it with very heavy thread, and there became an American legend. Of course, when I was a kid, there were dungarees. Did anybody call them dungarees? Okay, all right, see, there you go. So I needed a pair, and I said, Ma, I need a pair of dungarees. She said, no problem. I said, I had to go to school. I said, Ma, how are you going to buy me dungarees without me being there? And she said, don't worry about it. So she comes home that evening and says, here, try this on. And I tried them on. They were perfect. I said, what did you do? She said, I went to the store. They had no dressing rooms. If you were going to try on your dungarees, you had to hide amid the racks. Okay? I don't know why. Maybe it put hair on your chest or something. And she says, I went into the store. I saw a young man about your size. I said, young man, what size dungarees do you wear? And he told me, so I bought them for you. See, mothers can do these things. Well, after the German Jews get settled, they all build big, majestic Reform temples on the Upper East Side and the Upper West Side. Beautiful places. I visited one when I was thinking of going to rabbinical school, and I will never forget, up there on the bima, on the podium, the rabbi pressed a button, opened the ark, the doors went like this, and a light went on. And I thought, just like a refrigerator. So that was my only cultural reference. So anyway, what else? Here come the Eastern European Jews, and they had the best reason for coming here altogether. Tsar Nicholas II, a very ignorant man who himself contributed largely to the downfall of his own government. And he had an officer by the name of Pobodonotsev, who was also a priest. And he said, "What shall we do with the Jews, Counselor Pobodonotsev?" And Pobodonotsev said, "We'll kill a third of them will emigrate, and 1/3 will convert to the Russian Orthodox Church." Well, he was wrong, because more than a third emigrated. And that's why, as I like to say, I'm here speaking English in front of all you nice people. I am the most fortunate of people, because thank God they didn't stay in Europe, because you know what happened there. And I'm really glad to share this with you this morning. God bless you all. Shalom. Thank you.
I promise we'll have more. We need to get our congregations together again. It's great to go over there because they keep a kosher kitchen. And so we can't bring anything. We just show up and they feed us, right, Rita? We have had some nice exchanges through the years, and we look forward to getting back. So as we celebrate Jewish American History Month, it's so wonderful to hear of that history, and there's so much more. So thank you again so much. Now it is time to take an offering. And one of the traditions, even in Judaism, is that you give to your spiritual center, that you give to your source of spiritual food, so that we may continue. And to those of you who have been so faithfully giving, we thank you so very much. Our screen will show you different ways to give. We even have the ability to text to give. And they're scrambling because they don't know I'm going to say that. It may not be there. Just know that on our website, there's a donate button. You may use that. You may use the bill pay functions on your banking. And actually, bill pay has no charges yet. Credit card charges, we're happy to cover that because we do appreciate your gifts. So as you hold whatever you have in your hand for giving today, we also thank those of you who are set up on a recurring time and may not have a check with you today. But whatever, we thank you so very much for your giving as we look forward to being here more and more as we build this spiritual community. So won't you think of your gift or hold your gift and let's bless it. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I give, and all that I receive.
Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder dressed in red? Wade in the water. Must be the children that Moses led. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Who's that yonder dressed in white? Wade in the water. Must be the children of the Israelites. Oh, God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water, wade in the water, children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Come on, James. Who's that yonder dressed in blue? Wade in the water. Must be the children that's coming through. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. You don't believe I've been redeemed. Wade in the water. Just see the Holy Ghost looking for me. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Wade in the water. Wade in the water. Children, wade in the water. God's gonna trouble the water. Oh.
And so we close our service today with an invitation to go to fellowship next door. Do we have coffee today? Yeah, I believe there's coffee over there and probably some snacks too. So okay. Rita brought snacks. Good. A lot of people brought snacks. All right then. Yeah, we're getting back into the swing of things. We depend so much here on your volunteerism, and those of you who haven't happened back yet to service, there's nothing like hearing our band in person. Lawrence told me last week, because he watched the service, and he said, oh, the music's okay on the internet, but oh my gosh, you got to be here in person. So we miss those who are not attending, and we invite all of you to come back again. Bring family and friends as we build spiritual community. So enjoy some fellowship time. I would ask those of you who have pets to tell them Saturday's their day. We're going to go for a ride. And going to get a blessing. And those of you who have the strength to help put up some canopies at 9:30, please see Darby right back there, our wonderful assistant minister and office manager, who will be worried if her day ends on Thursday and nobody has volunteered to help get those canopies up. All righty, let's all stand. Look around. This is Unity of Pompano spiritual community. Feels good to know each other. We have our guests visiting from Temple Shalom. We so are welcoming to them. Our thanks to the rabbi. Let's bless each other with Unity's prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternal.
children play. Eso.
Blessings are falling, are falling, are falling. Blessings are falling like a sweet, sweet rain. Blessings are falling, are falling, are falling on me. Beauty is falling, is falling, is falling. Beauty is falling like a sweet, sweet rain. Beauty is falling, is falling, is falling on me. Oh Lord, I receive your blessing. Oh Lord, I receive your grace. Oh Lord, I will dance forevermore. Oh Lord, I receive your blessing. Oh Lord, I receive